In this age, productivity is even more valuable than your intelligence. What if I told you that I found a real way to 100x your productivity? Because you can have tips, tactics, habits, hacks, and apps until you're blue in the face, but the more information you have about productivity doesn't necessarily mean you're more productive. I've had to figure out productivity the hard way, so you don't have to do it. I've tried every system, every hack, every piece of advice that you can think of, but here's what actually works. Here are the best productivity principles that top performers literally hide from us. I promise, I will reveal the ultimate method that 100x's your productivity in a sec. But first, the first principle that you need to 2x, 3x your productivity is more is not always better. We tend to think that the amount of time and energy we spend working is directly proportional to the amount of work we do. Like, if I spend twice as much time writing a YouTube script, I will produce twice as many videos. However, that statement is only valid for tasks that are mindless and repetitive. If you're doing knowledge work, the relationship is not linear. It's actually diminishing returns. For a few hours, twice, the effort will produce twice as much output, but it will stop around hour 4 or 5. And by 10 or 12, it's almost completely flat. The value of an extra hour past 10 or 12 hours is basically nothing, but I would argue that it's actually worse than that, because depending on your job, working more hours might actually, at a certain point, create negative returns. Let me explain. Your late-night programming session might have many bugs, which means you need to spend extra time finding and fixing those bugs. The truth is that pushing yourself to work insane hours is often going to backfire, and even when it's not, it's highly likely going to make you miserable. Because when you don't get enough rest, guess what happens? That's right, your emotions go to shit. The quality of your work goes down, and your coworkers don't want to be around you. You start to get burned out, so your work starts slipping, you get more stressed. What do? You get online and you hook up some productivity hacks. Maybe you just need a break. The next piece of information that can actually 3x or 4x your productivity, depending on the person, is you only improve what you measure. It's human nature to want to see numbers go up. We're incredibly motivated by it. This is why tracking is very important. If you don't measure something, it likely won't improve. Tracking and measuring it is the most reliable way to improve it. No matter how many sales calls you make every day, how quickly you respond to emails, how happy your clients are, you've got to measure. When I first started writing, I set word goals each day. After a couple months, I found myself working more hours than ever, but what I didn't realize at the time was that I was filling my weeks with meaningless shit. Pretty soon, I was wasting my energy on inconsequential work, distracting myself from the most important work, all in order to hit some dumb, arbitrary goal of hours of work per week. And then the final principle that I've been talking about, the best way, the ultimate way that 100x's your productivity is the easiest action method, and I explain you in a second what the hell does it mean. This is a method that you have to implement easily, but just asking yourself a question every time you felt inaction. Ask yourself, what is the easiest action that you can take now that moves you forwards towards your goal, which is completing the current task, and then do it. What is the most doable, smallest action that you can take to complete your task? If you're a writer, opening a blank document, writing the outline of the story. If you go gym, filling your water bottle. If you're an editor, just opening the editing app. Do it, then you're in the flow, and you see 2 hours later, most of the task is done. I don't care who you are, if you're human and working, at some point you're going to procrastinate. Procrastination happens when something feels overwhelming in your mind. The task could feel like it's too hard and can't be done in the specified time, so you avoid it. Whatever it is, the principle for beating procrastination is always the same and quite simple. It's the easiest action method. It's the smallest action that feels completely doable to you in this exact moment. I use the writing example again because I'm currently writing this script. Writing a script feels bad? Start with the outline. Outline feels scary? Start with the sentence. Sentences terrify you? Just open up a Google Doc and title it or something. The easiest action method takes advantage of a quirk of human psychology, and that is that motivation is mostly not the cause of action. Most likely, it's the effect of the action you take. So when you do the easiest action, it usually becomes more difficult to stop doing the task than to continue. So you continue, and turn on the notification bell if you want to get daily self-improvement lessons like this. Peace.